Oh, we're live. We're live. We're live. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing well. All right. All right. All right. Let's make sure everything's all set up. Let's make sure we're live on the YouTubes. Are we live on the YouTubes? Let's see. All right. Let's see here. Are we live on YouTube? Let's see. Let's see. Yes, it is. Yes, we are. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's see if we are live on the X. We should be live on the X. Yes, we are live on the X. All right. All right. All right. There we go. We are live on the X. We're live on the Twitch. We should be live on the Twitch. Yes, we are. Beautiful. Audio is working. Perfect. All right. Let's get all the announcements out and ready to go. Good morning, Julian. Good morning, good morning, good morning, man. Good morning. All right. 1 second. Oh, we'll take a look at PAVM in just a second. We shall take a look at PAVM in just a second, brother. Give us 1 second. We're just getting all the announcements out. Okay, there we go. Get that out, get that out. There we are. Boom, right there. Get those announcements out and ready to go. Golden Cross. Ooh, okay. All right, we're going to take a look at PAVM real quick. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's make sure we got everything all set up here. Everything's all copacetic. PAVM up 128%. Pulled back a little bit, but is moving up nicely right now. PAVM up 128, 128. Have been having some baggers, ladies and gentlemen. We've been having some baggers as of late. Thank you. All right. All right, all right. 50 cross the 200. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. 1 second. Getting everything all set up over here. Getting all the announcements out. Ready to go. There we are. Boom, right there. Let me just get the intro done, and then we will take a look at PAVM, which is now up 118%. Had a nice high of 128%. Looking schmexy. All right. All right. There we go. There we are. Boom, right there. There we go. Perfect. All right. Let's get this intro started. What's up, guys? It's Double Nicks, and welcome to another episode of Microcap Mornings. I am your host with the most. They call me DBL Nicks in the house, a.k.a. the Rainmaker. And I am here with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. She likes to hang around the tall weeds, the high trees, the low seas, hitting them high knees. Sometimes she likes 2 cups of coffee. Other times she likes to jet ski. Other times she likes to regular ski. Other times she gets shot at the cannon and she goes, wee! Other times she likes to go to RBs and watch videos of puppies and kitties. Other times she likes to go and hang around at a Wendy's, or maybe sometimes she'll go to a Mickey D's, or sometimes she'll go to even a Burger King. Who knows, right? But if there's one thing she does, she likes to go into the stock market and find them ABCDs. She did call quite a few wonderful stonks like PAPL, BOXL, and IMTE. We call her DBL Moms. Yeesh. So that's what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we got going on. So before we begin, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. Of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. The moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hold on, let me fix that little glitch there. Okay, fixed. Okay, good. All right. But yeah, that's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Let's get started. All right, we did call quite a few wonderful stonks this past day. We called quite a few wonderful stonks this past day that have run hundreds and hundreds of percentage points today. So, ladies and gentlemen, bear with me. I just got to get these little bits and pieces over here set up. Boom. All right. All right. Beautiful. There we go. There we go. Get that set. Boom. Right there. And get that set right there. Let me just pin up these comments. Bop. Right there. Okay. We're all set. There we go. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we called quite a few stonks today. We called quite a few baggers today. We call a lot of baggers a lot of times. We called PAPL. PAPL ran up 222%. Called it on our private Discord prior to the run. All right. There we go. All right, let's see here. Boom. There we are. Boom. Right there. Beautiful. All right. So we called PAPL. It ran up a nice 222%. We called this morning IMTE. It ran up a nice 130% this morning. We called it on a private Discord prior to its run. There we go. There we go. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. All right. IMTE bot right there. We called BOXL, and that one ran on our private Discord as well. We called that. It ran up a nice 160%. 160% right there. Boom, right there. What else do we call? We called SLGB. And that stock ran a nice 256%. 256% right there. All right, there we go. Boom, right there. We called MLEC. That one ran up a nice 117%. 117% right there. Boom, right there. Boom. Okay. We called PAVM. And that ran up a nice 128%. 128%. Again, all these stocks were called on the private Discord. So, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our private Discord. Join us for the 4-day trial for a real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. Now, let's take a look at PAVM over here. PAVM had a nice shot upward so far. Had a nice shot upward. Let me get this over here. Bop right there. All right. Had a bit of a descending wedge now forming. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Right over here. Boom. All right. Get that up here. Boom. Boom. And boom. All right. Had a nice run up 128%. 128%. All right, and was moving and grooving just fine. It was moving pretty well. Had a nice run up 120%. Now forming a descending wedge and moving downward, but it was a bit overbought in the RSI over here, right over here on the RSI. So as of now, it is pulling back to kind of compensate for that, but it is also pulling below the VWAP, so we got that going on as well. 9 EMA is not anywhere near the VWAP, so we got that going on as well. So it does have news that PAVmed shares are trading higher after the company announced that its subsidiary Lucid Diagnostics was awarded a contract by the Department of Veteran Affairs for its EsoGuard esophageal DNA test. So they got that going on as well. That's what they have going on. So they got good news there that they were awarded a contract by the Department of Veteran Affairs. So that's awesome. So now it has a descending wedge right now, needs to curl off that descending wedge and stay above the VWAP. Right now it's breaking below the VWAP because it is pulling back a little bit. It is a bit overbought in the RSI, so we got that going on. PAVM has an 852,000 float, 5 million volume, so the volume's good. The volume's high on it. The float is relatively low, so as far as low floats are concerned, they tend to be a bit more volatile, but, you know, it is what it is with that stuff, so let's see here. So PAVM, as of now, needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAPA. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some support and resistance lines on here. Support and resistance lines, bop, right there. All right. So as of now, needs some support and resistance lines there. All right. So as of now, it has to hold above the 1191 support line over here, has to break through 1327, and then has to break through 1528. Another support line would be 1256, which is where the VWAP is, so it has to break above 1256, 1327, and then 1548 for it to be considered somewhat schmexy to me. Right now, it's in a descending wedge, has to break above the descending wedge, has to break it, otherwise, you know how it is. Ladies and gentlemen, so let's see what other stonks we got here. SLGB as of now had a high of 256%. So as of now, we're going to pull this thing all the way back here, get some support and resistance lines, bop right here, bop right there. All right. As of now, it is still above the VWAP, has to hold above the 323 support line over here. Resistance is at 372, and then 449 is another form of resistance right there. Currently, it did have a nice shot upward over here. Boom. Let's get this up here. Bop. Right there. Maybe a little bit of, had a small ABCD right here, and then basically formed a bit of a pennant right over here. Boom. Right there. So, yes. So, we'll see what happens with that. Julian says institutions usually make trades when the 50 crosses the 200. That's probably what that was. Maybe that might have been what it was. Who knows? But as of now, SLGB is currently up 178%. Had a high of 256%. And looks like it's on a bit of a descending wedge, pulling down. It needs to curl back up. It needs to hold above the VWAP. VWAP is at 319. All right. Currently, it's not overbought or oversold in the RSI. SLGB has a 1 million float, 42 million volume. So the volume is excellent for the stonk, but it needs to keep curling its way on up. It needs to utilize that volume to go up. All right. Otherwise, Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. A little congested. But, yeesh. So, as of now, 9 EMA is currently above the VWAPA. It's currently above the VWAP, so it looks like it's trying to kind of converge a bit more. It's kind of trying to pull down a little bit to kind of converge with the VWAP, because when it's extended like that, it tends to have more of a likelihood of going down. So as of now, we'll see what happens with the stonk. Right now, it's forming a bit of a descending wedge. It needs to stay above the VWAP. But yeah, that's what it's got going on right there. That is what it's got going on. The volume for it is fantastic. The float is 1 million. Reasonable float, pretty low, but it is what it is there. SLGB needs to break above the descending wedge. So, that's what we got going on with SLGB. All right, let's see what else we got here. BOXL had a high of 160%. 160% had a high all the way over here. Looks like it formed a bit of, should I even say a cup and handle? not a cup and handle. Head and shoulders. Excuse me. Head and shoulders, not cup and handle. So, because I can see the head over here, shoulder over here, and possibly like a little shoulder over here, and then kind of pulled its way back down a little bit and fell below the VWAP right over here, right there. All right. Now, it kind of had a nice little curl upward, though. It did have a nice little curl upward right over here. Bop, right there. All right. But then it went back down over here. So it has to break above that little area. Honestly, it's a bit of a sharper drop, so I'd say it's more so a downtrend over here. Has to break this downtrend right here. For it to be somewhat schmexy to me, needs to break this downtrend, needs to break above the VWAP once again. It is not overbought or oversold in the RSI, so we'll see what happens. BOXL Corporation is now up 80%. 80%. So it's got that going on right there. It had a nice 160% run. 160% run. It had a nice one, but as of now, it needs to stay above the VWAP. Needs to break above the VWAP right there, and then break above this downtrend. So BOXL as of now had a nice 160% run, but started pulling back, climbing up a little bit, and then pulling back again. So it's forming a bit of lower lows, not looking too schmexy right there. Had a bit of a head and shoulders. So BOXL needs to break the downtrend and the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. There we go. That's what we got going on right there. That's for BOXL. PAPL. Hold on. Oh, let me get this over here. All right. Actually, you know what? We'll go with BNAI. BNAI. Boom, right there. All right. BNAI had a bit of an ABCD pattern over here. A to B, B to C, C to D. Right. Pulled back a little bit and created another one over here. Not really an ABCD per se, but it just pulled back up and then kind of created this descending wedge over here. Has to hold above this descending wedge, has to be above this descending wedge, and has to break through this VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. So BNAI needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAP right there. Needs to break those two things for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. PAVM, how's PAVM holding up? PAVM up 144%, curling up nicely off the descending wedge, curled up very nicely off the descending wedge right there, new high. All right, up 144%. Again, PavMed shares are trading higher after the company announced a subsidiary, Lucid Diagnostics, was awarded a contract by the Department of Veteran Affairs for its EsoGuard esophageal DNA test. So they got that going on right there. PAVM new high of day, 144%. Hit that new high of day very nicely. All right, 144. All right, so. All right, let me put that there. PAVM hit a new high of day, up 144%. There we go. Called it. There we go. PAVM up 144%. Let's see what goes on here. What other stonks we got? Now it's pulling back a little bit, 132%, but it did have a nice high. Up 144%. Has to hold above the $13.59 mark. Has to break through $15.90 over here for it to become somewhat schmexy to me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. SLGB. How's SLGB holding up? SLGB curling up slightly, but not really. Needs more volume, ladies and gentlemen. Up 182%. Had a high of 256%. So as of now, it's currently trying to curl a little bit. We'll see what happens with the stonk. SLGB testing the descending wedge. Can it curl? Let's see. We shall see. It did have a nice run. Julian asks for NRSN. All right, NRSN. Let's take a look at NRSN. NRSN. All right, as of now, NRSN doesn't look like it has much in terms of the volume department. A lot of indecisive wicks over here. A lot of indecisive wicks going over here, here, here. All right, actually, hold on. Let me get the graffiti pencil activated right here. So you got indecisive wicks all over here, right? You got an indecisive wick here. You got an indecisive wick here. Indecisive wicks over here. All right, and a lot of sporadic movement throughout here. All right, it does move up, don't get me wrong, but it looks like it's on some low volume. Let's take a look at the float and volume. Float is approximately 25.5 million. Volume is 397.5 thousand. So as of now, it is very, very low volume, heavy float. Has unconfirmed Q3 earnings due in 13 days during market hours on February 3rd. So we got that going on for it. It is up 8%, but it does have a lot of choppiness, a lot of indecisive wicks over here, 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 and here. So as of now, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Let's take a look over here. Let's get rid of all these little illustrations over here. But as of now, I'll give it some support and resistance lines over here just to give it some support and resistance lines, but it is one of those stonks that is very, very low volume. Very low volume. So, as of now, NRSN moved up on low volume, but needs to break those indecisive wicks because there's a lot of them. NRSN moved up on low volume. Lots of indecisive wicks. A lot of indecisive wicks. That's what they got going on over there. They have to break those indecisive wicks. Bless you, DVO moms. All right. SLGB. SLGB seems to be trying to curl up again. It seems to be trying to curl up. Let's see what happens. It's now up 199%, curling off the descending wedge. Curling off the descending wedge and breaking the resistance line right there. That resistance line is 372. Has to break above 449 to continue the schmexiness. SLGB had a 256% run, curling off the descending wedge. There we go. SLGB curled off the descending wedge. Fine, there we go. I notice stocks like this will come back from the dead in a couple of days to weeks. Yes, sometimes they do. It really depends, I guess. It really depends. I mean, it depends on a lot of different factors. News, whether the stock, has reverse splits, or maybe it has public offerings. It could be either or. I mean, it'd be like that sometimes. I mean, sometimes they pop up, sometimes they don't. It's, I don't know. There's some sort of pattern to it, because sometimes they will pop up from the dead. It'll be weird. But yes, that is something to take notice of, Julian. That is something very important to take notice of. Sometimes they will do that. There's no real rhyme or reason. Sometimes it has to do with trends, news, a bunch of different factors. But yes, there are times where stocks like that will pop up from the dead and do stuff. You know what I mean? It'll be like a zombie. You know what I mean? Like to think of almost like zombie stocks or something like that, But yeah, SLGB as of now, curled up, formed a bit of a descending wedge right there. Not a descending wedge, top tail. You don't like the top tails, you like the bottom tails. But as of now, SLGB looks like it is trying to curl above that descending wedge. So I like that. Let's see what it do. Let's see what it do. You know what I mean? Let's see what it do. All right. So as of now, that's what we got going on for SLGB. SLGB. All right, let's take a look at PAVM. Let's see how PAVM is doing. How's PAVM holding up? PAVM is currently, it curled up a little bit, but then after that went back down. So let me actually put this over here. Right there. Had a bit of a curl up here and then started pulling its way back down again to form what I would like to call another little descending wedge on top of a descending wedge. So we got that going on right there. Boom, right there. Right, has to break this little tiny descending wedge that it made off the descending wedge. Right, has to break that little tiny one right there. Because sometimes they have descending wedges on top of descending wedges, and it's kind of weird, but that's the way it works. PAVmed shares, by the way, for those of you who are just joining us now, they're trading higher after the company announced its subsidiary Lucid Diagnostics was awarded a contract by the Department of Veteran Affairs for its EsoGuard esophageal DNA test. So we got that going on right there. Julia says, LOL. Yeah, because I trade PAPL already. Yeah, no. PAPL had a nice run today, man. PAPL had a very good run today. It had a nice 222% run. Matter of fact, you know what? Let's pull up that one. Hold on, PAVM. Needs to break above the new descending wedge right there, because it has a bit of a new descending wedge kind of forming there. Because sometimes these stocks, they'll go up, then they'll form littler descending wedges, and then they'll just go right up. So it really happens. Sometimes it be like that in life. All right, let's take a look at PAPL. PAPL had a nice run earlier today, had a nice run up 222%, but then fell back down because this, it was one of those stocks that kind of popped up. Well, not really popped up per se. It had a nice shot up over here, so it moved up here, went back down a little bit, and then shot up once again, and then kind of just went over here and made one of these bigger pennants right here. Needs to really break this pennant and break this VWAP over here at 209 for it to become somewhat schmexy to me. Has a support line over here, resistance over here. Let's see what we got going on. Boom, right there. So, as of now, this stock has support at 146. Needs to break 189, 219, 249, 287, and then 347 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Currently is up at $2.09 is where the VWAP is. It is currently $1.66. So it has to break 189, then the VWAP at 209, then the next resistance line at 219, 249, 287, and then 347 right there. Didn't diddle in the moving averages, PAVM. Don't diddle in the moving averages. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. No. Let's hope not. But as of now, PAPL is currently, it really needs to just break through this big pennant right here because it has a pretty big pennant over here. So it had a bit of a downtrend here. It's trying to curl slightly, but again, it's a pennant right now. So it's kind of more so consolidated than anything else. Slight curl, but not much going on there. So PAPL, as of now, needs to break the pennant and the VWAP. PAPL needs to break the pennant and the VWAP for it to become somewhat schmexy to me. SLGB seems to be trying to curl its way on up. SLGB, what's going on with you? Hello, buddy. It looks like it's trying to curl its way on up now. It's 221%. Still trying to curl. Could be trying to test the high a day. Maybe it just broke through resistance once again. SLGB broke through resistance, trying to test that high a day, maybe. We'll see what happens. SLGB curling up off more resistance. Can it looks like it might try to test the high of day. Boom. There we go. So SLGB looks like it's trying to test that high a day. Maybe. It is climbing up 225%. Had a high of 256%, so it is curling off that descending wedge right there. Can it continue? Can it continue? It is climbing. Slowly but surely. We shall see what it do. We shall see what it do. Can it break that 256% high? We shall see. Has to break above 449. That is the next resistance line right there. Can it do it? We shall see. We shall see. So, that's what we got going on for SLGB. Let's take a look at some other stocks here. Let's take a look at some other stocks. Let me go into the requests real quick. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. All right. All right. Oh, SLGB pulled back and then started curling back up again. Oh boy. Very interesting. One of those volatile stonks right now. Now it's being a bit volatile. A little craziness. Has resistance, a new resistance line set up over here at $3.95. Meh. We'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens over there. Someone requested NUAI. All right, NUAI. All right. Come on. NUAI. Ooh. Yeah, a lot of indecisive wicks over here. A lot of indecisive wicks. You press the little button. No, thank you. All right, a lot of indecisive wicks. You got indecisive wicks over here. You got indecisive wicks over here. All right, a lot of choppiness in this stock. A lot of choppiness. As of now, there's a lot of indecisive wicks, a lot of choppiness. Not looking too schmexy, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of choppiness here. Indecisive wicks here, all over the place with this stock. It does not look schmexy to me. Does not look schmexy to me at all. It is on a bit of an uptrend, but it's an uptrend on very low volume. And it's up only 5%. Not looking too schmexy as of now. You could say it's moving up, but really it's very choppy. I wouldn't trust this stock, me personally. Does it have any news? Let's see. It says that it's skyrocketing. What's causing the surge? Let's see. Yeah, it's skyrocketing, up 5%. Yeah, ooh, big skyrocket. Well, then again, this was January 20th, not the 21st. This was yesterday. Let's see here. Oh, there's a partnership that is being aimed at developing a massive next-generation data center campus in Texas. That's what they got going on so far. But as of now, it's only up 6%. Let's take a look at the float. Float is 51.5 million. That's a very heavy float. Volume is 290.7 thousand. So as of now, 290.7 thousand is less than 51.5 million. So the float is extremely heavy. Volume is extremely light. Very low volume, up 6%. Barcoding. So NUAI, garbage. NUAI, choppy and low volume. Not schmexy. Total garbage. Garbaggio. Yes. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. GCTK just came in. Let's see how GCTK is doing. GCTK popped and then drops right there. So a lot of consolidation. Doesn't look like it has a very low float. Very low floated stock. 907,000. Volume is 2.1 million. So we got that going on right there. So the volume would technically be good, but the thing is, it's kind of dookie right now because it is very, very choppy. It is very, very choppy. It is fallen below the VWAP. Had a nice move upward originally, and then kind of just went back down. All right. Popped up, but then dropped back down. All right. It is down currently 8%. GCTK needs to break the pennant and the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Again, has a 2 million volume and a 907,000 float, but again, very, very volatile. Wouldn't trust it right now. PAVM had a nice 144% run, but now has pulled downward. So right now, this isn't really a descending wedge. More so, this is just a downtrend right now. Needs to break this little downtrend. It needs to break above the VWAPA for it to be so much mexy to me. PAVM had a slight curl, but then just went back down. So we'll see what happens. PAVM needs to break the downtrend and the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. There we go. Let's get a share party going, by the way. Let's get to 700. Let's get to 700, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Come on now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's see how we're doing here with, we already did PAPL, IMTE. Let's take a look at IMTE. IMTE. There we go. Unconfirmed H1 earnings due in 13 days from now on to February 3rd before the market open. Has some indecisive wicks over here, and a bit of choppiness and barcoding over here. So as of now, IMTE doesn't look too schmexy to me right now. IMTE 3 million float, 15 million volume. So it does have volume, but at the same time, it really needs to try and curl its way above that VWAPA right over there. So let's see over here. Let's get this over here. This pennant, bop right there, bop right there. Has to break the pennant, has to curl up above the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Otherwise, it's meh. IMTE had a nice run up 130% earlier in the day, but now is pulling back and needs to break above the VWAP and the pennant. Needs to break the VWAPA and the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Julian asks for LUCD. LUCD. All right, let's take a look at LUCD. LUCD, as of now, okay, earlier had indecisive wicks over here. Looks like it's trying to curl its way up. Little indecisive wick over here. Made a bit of a doji candle, actually. A little bit of a doji because it went up and went back down. And then after that, kind of just consolidated over here. Curled up again. And let's see what happened with LUCD over here. Let's take a look at the overview. Bop. Float is 94.5 million, so very heavy float. Volume is 3.6 million. Not something that we're necessarily looking at the schmexy. Not really schmexy to me. Very heavy float, light on the volume. Not looking too good in terms of that. Let's take a look at the news over here. Lucid Diagnostics was awarded a U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs contract for EsoGuard, so that's good. And they won a VA contract for EsoGuard esophageal cancer screening across nationwide VA healthcare system. But as of now, the stock is currently moving upwards slightly, but also very, very choppy. So as of now with this stock, again, heavy float, light volume, very, very choppy. So LUCD, choppy. LUCD, choppy, low float. Stock needs to stay above the VWAPA and get more volume for it to be so much schmexy to me. Let me get some water, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get some water real quick. All right. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. Let's take a look at BNAI. Let's see how BNAI is doing. BNAI still kind of following along that descending wedge, but again, still needs to break that descending wedge. It still needs to break that little VWAPA over there. So BNAI still needs to break the VWAP, still needs to break the descending wedge. Let's see what happens. BNAI still needs to break the VWAPA and the descending wedge. There we go. There we go. That's what we got going on. That is what we got going on, folks. Let's see about SLGB. How's SLGB holding up? SLGB up 223%. Still trying to do its thing right now. It's a little bit consolidated. A little bit of consolidation right now. Has to break above that $3.96 mark right there. Has to break above $3.96. Has a bit of a resistance line. Has to break above it, ladies and gentlemen. SLGB needs to break through the resistance line and test that high of day. There we go. There we go. SLGB needs to do that. Needs to break that high of day right there. Looks like it's trying to. It looks like it's trying to, ladies and gentlemen. If you look over here, it looks like it's got that little candle right over there at 397. It's breaking above it slightly. It just needs to keep going. It needs that movement. It needs that volume to keep moving its way on up, ladies and gentlemen. SLGB. That's what they got going on right there. Can they break above it? Can they break above their high a day? We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. They're trying to curl. It's fighting. It's fighting its way on up right now. It's up $4 now. It looks like it's fighting above that resistance. It broke through it, but it needs to stay above it. That's what it needs to do right there. So it needs to keep fighting for it. You know what I mean? It needs to keep fighting for it. Arr, you know what I mean? There we go. That's what I like. That's what I like. All right. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Somebody requested IMTE. IMTE slightly curling above the pennant over here, but still has a ways to go before it can be somewhat schmexy to me. Again, has to break that VWAP right over here for it to be somewhat schmexy to me, so it has a ways to go. So right now, it is currently at $1.13. Has to break through 123, which is where the VWAP is, for it to be somewhat schmexy to me, but it is curling slightly above the pennant right now. IMTE, curling slightly above the VWAP, needs to keep climbing. It's not curling above the VWAP, it's curling above the pennant, not the VWAP. The pennant needs to keep climbing to break that VWAP. There we go. IMTE, boom, needs to do that right there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get to 800. Let's get to 800, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for our real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. All right, we already called a couple of wonderful stonks today. We called PAPL, which ran up 222%, IMTE, which ran up 130%, BOXL, which ran up 160%, SLGB, which ran up 256%, MLEC, which ran up 117%, and PAVM, which ran up a nice 144%. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. The cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. You can get that by joining our private Discord, ladies and gentlemen, for only $9.99 for the first 4 days, ladies and gentlemen. We called these stonks on our private Discord prior to them running, so we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, yeah. As of now, the stonks are looking schmexy. Yes, sir. All right. Well, our stonks were looking schmexy. So, we got that going on. Let's take a look at LSTA. I'm curious about this one. This one looks like a bit of an offering. Yep, this is an acquisition. Acquisition. All right, so it has news. Lisata Therapeutics Inc. has news that it's trading higher after the company announced a binding term sheet to be acquired by Kuva Labs for $4 per share in an all-cash tender offer. That's why it's so consolidated over here. LSTA acquisition play. Gonna say that. LSTA consolidating. Acquisition alert. I'll say acquisition alert. Alert, acquisition. There we go. Acquisition alert. Yeah. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right. What are the stonks we got here? Somebody said VERO. Let's take a look at VERO. VERO. Not looking too schmexy. Not looking schmexy at all. Looks like it dropped like a rock. Not looking too schmexy. VERO needs to break the downtrend, down 60%. Not looking too good there. VERO needs to seriously break the downtrend and the VWAPA not looking good. Nope. Not looking good. That one is not looking good. PAVM. What's going on, PAVM? Oh my, 158%. Curling, moving, broke the high a day. 160% right there. PAVM. There we go. There we go. It just had to curl up off that little downtrend there. And it shot up like a rocket. Shot up like a Dickens. 160%. 160% on PAVM. PAVM up 160%, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. There we go. PAVM. Yeesh. PAVM curled off the slight downtrend and broke the high of day. Up 173%. 173%. There we go. There we go. Right there. There we go. There we go. 'Twas beautiful. Beautiful. There we go. 173%. 173. 173% right there. Wow. Wow. 175. There we go. 177. Still moving its way on up. 177%. There we go. Hold on. What's that say? Julian says, told you there was an institutional movement. Golden crosses. Hey. I mean, hey, I never doubted you. I never doubted you, brother. I never doubted you at all for a second. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, man. It be like that sometimes. You know, it be like that. PAVmed shares are trading higher after the company announced a subsidiary, Lucid Diagnostics, which, by the way, Lucid Diagnostics isn't exactly doing well, but PAVM is, so... Hey, it'd be like that. They were awarded a contract by the Department of Veteran Affairs for the EsoGuard esophageal DNA test. So, I mean, their subsidiary is making money, so I guess they are too. 183% climbing, ladies and gentlemen. 184, 189% right now. Wow. All right, 189% on PAVM. PAVM, 189% now. Oh, my. PAVM shot up like a rocket. Up. What was it? 100. What was it? 190. 189. No, it's 190% now. It shot up higher than that, but I'll 193. Oh, there we go. 193. There we go. There it is. 193. 193% right there. Shot up like a rocket, up 193%. There we are. Wow. Wow. Up 193%. There we go. Bagger, man. New. I mean, it's not a new bagger, but, you know. Baggernomics, ladies and gentlemen. Baggernomics, PhD. Got my PhD in Baggernomics from Big Bang College, BBC. All right. So, as of now, PAVM is just moving upward off of that little downtrend right there. LUCD moving slow, Julian says. All right, we'll take a look at LUCD. We'll take a look at that after CHKP because consistency asked for that. So we'll take a look at it real quick. But PAVM, yeah, up 193%. Shot up 193%. PAVM shot up 193% right there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1100, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below as well as the pinned comments section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. All right, let's take a look at CHKP. CHKP, that was requested of us. Let's take a look at it. All right, so CHKP as of now, very, very choppy. A lot of indecisive wicks here and here. Looks like it's moving downward as of now, and very, very expensive as well, mind you. So an expensive stock moving downward on a bit of a downtrend here. All right, below the VWAP, a lot of indecisive wicks going on over here. So not feeling this stock too much. CHKP, expensive stock. Low volume, needs to break the downtrend and the VWAPA. There we go. That's CHKP. Let's take a look at LUC. Oh, what's PAVM doing now? Oh, excuse me. 214% on PAVM. Oh my God. I take my eyes off of you for 1 second, and you're going 215%. 215%. Call me DJ Khaled because I'm suffering from success, ladies and gentlemen. All right, look at that. Look at that. Has a new high of 1991 right there. 215%. 215% right there. 215%. There we go. 215%. PAVM, new high. New high, baby. New high. PAVM, new high of day. Up 215%. There we have it. There you have it. There we go. There we go. PAVM up 215% right now. 215%. 215%. Yeesh. Yeesh. All right. Now, back to we're going to take a look at LUCD now. LUCD, yep. Choppy bit of movement here. Has a bit of resistance over here at the $1.44 mark over here. Again, very choppy movement upward. And yeah, it's got a ways to go, really. It's got a ways to go, LUCD. LUCD, very choppy movement upward. LUCD, choppy, uptrend, needs volume for it to continue to be so much schmexy. For it to be so much schmexy to me. But right now, you know how it is, ladies and gentlemen. You know how it is. All right, let's see. All right, so there we go. All right. Let's see. Somebody requested BOXL. BOXL had a nice move up 160%, ladies and gentlemen, but now has since formed a bit of a pennant right over here. So look at this. It had a movement upward slightly over here and then formed a bit of a pennant right over here. So it needs to break that pennant. BOXL needs to break above the pennant and needs to break above the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. BOXL needs to break above the VWAPA and the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Not looking too schmexy as of now because it really needs to break above that pennant right there. BOXL has had a nice run up 160%, but as of now, not looking too schmexy for me. Not looking too schmexy as of now. ADTX, somebody requested ADTX. Let's see how ADTX is doing. Kind of consolidated along the VWAP. We'll see what happens there. ADTX needs volume. To break the consolidation along the VWAPA. There we go. Let's see. Let's see here. All right, what are the stunks we got here? Let's see. Somebody requested CRVS. CRVS. CRVS, it's all right, I guess. It's all right. I mean, float is heavy. The float is 59.1 million, so very heavy float, very low volume. Moving up on some very low volume there, so not too schmexy to me. It's one of those stocks that's like, not looking too schmexy. Like, it's okay, I guess, but again, low volume. This stock is moving up on some low volume right now. Up 6%. CRVS. Moving up slightly on very low volume. Not schmexy. Not schmexy to ya. Not schmexy to ya. We'll see what happens, but not looking too schmexy to ya. IMTE. IMTE. Let's see here. All right. IMTE. Let's see. Let's see. What we got going on? Let's see. Julian says needs a couple more decimals. Yeah, needs a couple more decimals. Yesh. Yesh. Needs a couple more decimals. All right. So, as of now, IMTE needs a couple. IMTE up 52%. Has unconfirmed H1 earnings. Doing 13 days on February 3rd before the market opens, so it's got that going on. But again, it is very consolidated below the VWAP. It's still kind of pretty consolidated below the VWAP, not going to lie to you. Kind of consolidated. IMTE. IMTE. Consolidated below the VWAP. Needs to break the pennant and the VWAP for it to be so much schmexy to me, but right now, not looking too schmexy to me. You know what I mean? Not looking too schmexy. So we got that going on. Let's take a look at some fan favorites that have been requested of us a lot. ASST. All right, ASST, very choppy, a very choppy ABCD here, very choppy ABCD, very choppy ABCD. I mean, I'm happy they're getting an ABCD, but it's very choppy with some low volume, up 0.53%. ASST, low volume ABCD pattern. I don't trust it, me personally. But it does have a low volume ABCD pattern. BYND, that was another fan favorite. That one has consolidation over here. So let me get this over here. Bop right there. And bop right there. All right. Had a bit of a consolidation over here. Looks like it tried to curl above it. But again, it's one of those stocks that's like, it's very choppy. So BYND, consolidation, low volume, needs volume. BYND needs volume to break barcoding and consolidation. So they got that going on right there. OPEN. Let's see, again, a lot of consolidation and barcoding. Not looking too schmexy to me. There we go. All right, there we go, right here. All right, there we go. Right there, bop, right there. Sus. All right, let's see. Julian says SEGG is definitely the sympathy play after the missed pre-market the past week. Sus. Ha, sus. Open, I mean, it moved up a little bit, but Again, it's very choppy to me. These are all choppy to me. Like they're fan favorites, so I go over them, but they're choppy. They're choppy. Choppy with low volume. All right, needs volume. OPEN needs volume. Needs volume. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1400. 1400. We are 10 minutes away from the bell. The bell. It deafens me. All right, let's see here. All right. Wait, Julian, which stock are you talking about again? Is that SCGG? Are you still talking about SCGG? All right, let's take a look at SCGG. SCGG is a sympathy play. All right, so let's take a look. SCGG currently up, moving upward nicely right here. It is still climbing slightly. Again, it's up 15%. It is climbing a little bit, but it's a sympathy play. So as of now, it's a bit overbought in the RSI, a little bit overbought in the RSI. Sympathy play, so SCGG. Let me see about the float and the volume before I write anything here. SCGG float is 4.7 million, volume is 3.0 million. So as of now, moving up slightly on low volume. SCGG moving up slightly on low volume. Did have a nice run earlier in the week, and like last week as well. I think it had a pretty nice run, but other than that, not really much to say about the stock now. So we got that going on right there. SCGG moving up slightly on low volume. So yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about that stock, truthfully. Not much to really say. All right, let's see here. Yeah, not much to say about it right now. Not much to say about it right now. Needs more volume. That's what it needs. SCGG needs more volume. Let's take a look at LSTA. LSTA, let's see. Oh yeah, that's the one that's the acquisition play. Let's take a look at PAVM. We already know that one pulled back a little bit. MLEC pulled back. ADTX pulled back. Let's see here. You know what? We'll take a look at PAVM. PAVM shot up nicely. Had a nice shot upward. 215%. 215%. Looks like because it's overbought, it's pulling back downward a little bit. So it is pulling back just a bit right now because it was a bit overbought in the RSI. So it needs to break this descending wedge right here for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. PAVM. PAVM needs to hold the support line and break the descending wedge. There we go. That's what PAVM needs to do right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's see. SLGB. How's SLGB looking? How you doing there, buddy? SLGB pulling back a little bit. Not looking too schmexy right now. Not looking schmexy. Tried to break above the resistance. It broke above it a couple times, but then it pulled back. So as of now, it's pulling back quite a bit. Needs to break that slight downtrend right over here for it to be so much schmexy to me. Needs to break above that resistance line over here. That's now a resistance line. It was support before, but now it's resistance. 372 has to break above that 372 mark. Has to break above that 396 mark right over here. Actually, 396. 396. I call it 3. Actually, no, call it 397. 397 mark has to break above that 397 mark and break above that downtrend. Needs to break that downtrend. Needs to hold the support line. Yeah, needs to do a bunch of things there. So, SLGB needs to break the support. Needs to hold the support line. Actually, needs to hold the support line and break that downtrend. Needs more volume, ladies and gentlemen. Needs more volume. All right, needs more volume, but it did have a nice movement, though. It did have a nice movement up 215%. 215%. So we got that going on as well. That's what we got going on. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for a real-time alert to the scanners for only $9.99. Link to join is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We were just made different. And the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loots, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, as of now, SLGB. Yish. So, we did call quite a few wonderful stocks today. PAPL ran up 222%. IMTE 130%. BOXL 160%. SLGB 256%. MLEC 117% and PAVM 215%. All these baggers, by the way, were called on our private Discord early in the morning, so be sure to check it out. Be sure to join up. Be sure to get that 4-day trial for our real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comments section, so be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We were just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. All right, and of course, when you join us, you gain access to our amazing market mover scanners. You get access to this scanner right here that you're currently looking at on the far left, 24/7, 365. You basically get access to the ticker, price, volume, float, change in percentage, whether the stock is moving up or down, the time in which it was scanned, and to top it off, hyperlinks to each one of these stocks that you click into. You can get the charts for the stocks, the news for the stocks, all the information that you're seeing here, plus more, all that information just by clicking these hyperlinks. And to top it off, you gain access to our other scanners as well, which basically do similar stuff, if not more improved stuff as well. So they look for different things basically. And to top it off, you gain access to our amazing newsroom over here, which basically gives you access to basically news. Obviously gives you access to synopsises of articles that you could read. If you want to read the full article, you can click the hyperlink to read the full article. And to top it off, you get access to the tickers that are affected by the news within said articles. So you can basically click on those. You get the news as well as the charts and all sorts of other information for those tickers. It's a wonderful research tool for the stock market at the tip of your fingers, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm just saying, it's pretty sick. And to top it off, you get access to a wonderful and supportive community of people who love to build each other up, build themselves up, make a lot of money. And, of course, it's always fun to make money, but it's even better to make money with other people and share the vibes. You know what I mean? It's always good to share the vibes. So we got that going on as well. It's good to make money with a community. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And also, you gain access to our amazing stock ticker tape, which basically shows the stocks that we are currently looking at that are moving and moving and grooving and grooving and moving. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. And to top it off, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to gain access to more exclusive content, join the Wealth Builders, because the Wealth Builders is basically gives you access to everything you get with the real-time alerts and scanners, plus exclusive Wealth Builder access to exclusive Wealth Builders picks. You get access to Wealth Builders content, such as Wealth Builders picks that we told you about. A whole 500 video educational course created by Coach Nick Money and yours truly. You can also gain access to scripts, behind the scenes content, and to top it off, you get exclusive access to Coach Nick Money and myself. You get a direct line to us. Yes, sir. That's what you get right there. You get exact direct lines to Coach Nick Money and myself. So that's pretty cool, huh? You also get access to alert archives and all sorts of other cool stuff. So yeah, that's what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got going on. So be sure to check it out. Link to join is in the description down below. So be sure to check it out. And yeah, let's get back to it. Right now, we're looking at SLGB. Currently still on that downtrend. Needs to break that downtrend for it to be somewhat spexy to me. Let me get a drink of water. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get a drink of water real quick. One sec. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. I am back, and it's time for the bell! The bell! It deafens me. Yes, good, yes. The bell made a ringy dingy, it made a wee woo, yes sir, alright. Yes, good. I went into gremlin mode there. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, yes. Alright, alright. Let's see what we got going on. What do we got planned here? Let's see. Somebody requested NUAI once again. Let's take a look at NUAI. Last I checked, it was doing all right. There we go. It's still on a very choppy uptrend, low volume. Again, not looking too schmexy here because it looks like it's on an uptrend. Yay, right? But then you see it's up 8%. That's one thing, and quite frankly, it's like, okay, you went up here, then you went back down here, then you went up here, then you went back down here, then you went up here, then you went back down here, and now you're making a lower low right over here. You need to remain friends with the trend. And even then, you got to look at the float. The float is 51.5 million. Volume is only 670.9 thousand. So that is very, very low volume. Not looking schmexy. NUAI, very choppy. Look at that. Look at this choppiness. NUAI, very, very choppy and low volume. Pretty much trash, you know what I mean? Because, yeah, okay, you could say, oh, well, it's on an uptrend. Yeah, that's great, but, not really. Somebody requested BNAI. Let's take a look at BNAI. Yeah, most definitely. We'll take a look at BNAI for you. Stoop? Is that your name? Stoop? Stoop, yes. I shall call you Stoop, my friend. All right. Stoop, currently, right now, BNAI is right below the VWAP right now. Kind of consolidated a little bit below the VWAP. A little bit consolidated right now. Needs to break above that VWAP. It had a bit of a descending wedge earlier, but it didn't really do much. It curled off the descending wedge slightly, but then started moving back down. So we'll see what happens with the stunk. But right now, BNAI has news that Brand Engagement Network shares are trading higher after the company announced it finalized a strategic partnership with Valio Technologies to establish an exclusive AI licensing framework for government and commercial markets across Africa. So they got that going on right there. Again, BNAI had a slight curl off that descending wedge, but then started moving its way back down over here. So that's what we got going on right here. Has to break above that little tiny descending wedge right over there, but right now also has to break that VWAP right there. So BNAI has a ways to go right now, but it can potentially break that VWAP. BNAI needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAP for it to be so much maxi to me. There we go. All right. There we are. Stoop says, thanks, man. Yeah, no problem. Of course. Our pleasure. All right. Let's see. Yeah. So we got that going on. Looks like it's forming a bit of a green candle, but it's going back down. So we'll see what happens with BNAI. BNAI. Let's take a look at PAVM, because PAVM is going crazy right now. PAVM up 236%. Oh my. It consolidated just a little teeny itty bitty bit and then went up. There we go. That's all I got to say. I don't know what else to call that other than wee. That's it. That's what it is. Wee. Up. PAVM. Once again broke the high of day. Up 236%. That is the new high of day, ladies and gentlemen. Had a nice 236% run, ladies and gents. New run right there. 236. Bada bing, bada boom. Yes, sir. PAVM shot up 236%. Oh my! 245% now. Oh my. Oh my, as George Takei once said. Oh my. All right, 245% right there. 245% right there. 245%. 245% right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. PAVM up 245%. Up 248%. Oh my. Okay, all right. PAVM 248%. And climbing. We still moving, baby. We still moving. Yes, sir. PAVM up 248%. We still moving right now. All right. There we go. 246%, and it's trying. It's testing that higher day once again. Still testing that higher day once again. Still testing that higher day. Come on now. Still testing that. Oh my, 255, 257. Oh my. Oh my. Once again, it's up 257. I do say, good sir, it is up 257%. Jolly good day. Tally ho. All right. It is up 257%. Let's go. Right there. 257% right there. PAVM now up 257. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. PAVM. Yes. Now up 257%. 264%. Oh my. We still climbing right now. 264%. 264. 264% right there. All right. PAVM 264% and climbing. Looks like it might have. Did it halt? Well, 264%. PAVM. PAVM up 264%. All right. I think it halted. I think it halted. How about that? PAVM.
Yep.
Halted. Yep. Yep. Halted. Wow. Let my boy keep running, man. What's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? Well, you don't like me? You don't like me? What is that? What's going on right now? I was about to look at Steve Austin. You don't like me? What? You said you don't like me? What? You don't like me? What? You hate me? What? You don't like me? What? You despise me? What? Man just made synonyms for no reason. God bless. God bless Steve Austin. All right, let's see. BOXL, BOXL. Let's see how BOXL's doing. Oh my, curled up nicely. Look at that. Shot up like a Dickens. Went up to a nice 102%. BOXL shot up above the VWAP temporarily. BOXL price spiked above VWAPA. UOKA. What happened with UOKA? UOKA price spike on low volume. Had that price spike up there. Low volume though. UOKA. UOKA. Price spike. Let me know if PAVM keeps moving. UOKA price spike on low volume. All right. Let's take a look at SEGG. SEGG. Still moving its way on up, slowly but surely. Lottery.com shares are trading higher after the company announced it terminated a $150 million loan agreement with the United Capital Investments in London. So it terminated a loan agreement. So, yeah. All right. Basically, SEGG climbing, kind of consolidated a little bit over here at this low resistance line at 240, but can it keep curling? Can it keep moving? SEGG on an uptrend right now. SEGG still on an uptrend slightly. All right, let's see about Roma, ROMA. How's PAVM? Still there? All right. All right. ROMA, Roma. Yep, price spike on low volume. ROMA, price spike on low volume. A lot of low volume stocks just popping up there. Price spike on low volume. Yep. Let's see about GITS, GITS. I have a feeling it's the same deal. Yep, price spike on low volume. I mean, these are all price spikes on low volume. I'm just looking at them right now because they're popping in there a little bit, and I'm curious. SLGB, SLGB. Let's see how SLGB is doing. SLGB, trying to curl a little bit, but right now still needs to stay above that VWAP right there. Needs to stay above that VWAP. We'll see what happens. Needs to break the 358 mark. Needs to break 358 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. But as of now, SLGB trying to curl off the VWAP. We'll see what happens there, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. PAPL, PAPL. What happened? Oh my. PAVM. How high?
PAPL moving.
284%. 286%. Yes, sir. There we go. 286%. Because the rocket don't stop, ladies and gentlemen. PAPL curling off the pennant right now. Needs to break that VWAP. Pull on. PAPL curling off the pennant. Needs to break the VWAP. There we go. PAPL. All right. Let's take a look at... What was it? PAVL. PAVL. Pavel. What? What are you talking about? PAV. English. English. PAVM. You said PAVL. Well, say it harder. Say it better. PAVL. M. Stop confusing me. Jeez. PAVM. Up 285%, you said?
Now 281. Yeah, 285, correct.
285. Look at DBL Mom's playing mind games. Hiya. PAVM up 285%. Oh yeah. Oh my. 286 actually. Went up 286. PAVM went up. Broke the halt. Shot up 286%, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we got going on. Boom, right there. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And, of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, of course, be sure to check out our real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comments section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different. And the early bird gets the cash. The moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. We already called for our private Discord, PAPL, Papa Alpha Papa Lima, 222% prior to its run. IMTE, India Mike Tango Echo. We called this one prior to its 130% run. BOXL, Bravo Oscar X-Ray Lima. That one ran up a nice 160%. We called that one before the 160% run. Sierra Lima Golf Bravo SLGB. We called that one prior to its 256% run. Mike Lima Echo Charlie MLEC. We called that one prior to its 117% run. And PAVM, Papa Alpha Victor Mike, that one ran up a nice 286%. We called it prior to that run. Heck, we called it on the stream prior to that run. So, just saying, we called it on our private Discord way before we got on stream, but we also called it on the stream prior to the run. So, that's all I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. So be sure to check out that real-time alerts and scanners. Get access to our amazing scanners, which show all the tickers, price, volume, float, change in percentage points, whether the ticker is moving up or down, as well as the time in which it was scanned, hyperlinks for more information, as well as hyperlinks for our newsroom as well, to give you more information on certain stocks and articles, and as well as the tickers that are affected by said articles. You get access to those as well. Top it off, you get access to our ticker tape, which basically shows all the stocks that are currently moving and grooving, and basically those are the ones that we are currently watching. So those are the ones that will show up on the ticker tape. Boom, you know what I mean? It shows you that. Even gives you hyperlinks to that as well. And to top it off, ladies and gentlemen, you gain access to the amazing Indelible community, which has amazing people, an amazing group of individuals who basically want to grow, make money, help each other grow themselves, and have a good time. Because, it's always fun to make money, but hey, it's even more fun to make money with everybody else and share the vibes. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's always fun to have a community and share the vibe. So, yeah, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Also, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our Wealth Builders package, which gives you everything you normally get in the real-time alerts and scanners package, plus exclusive Wealth Builders access to an exclusive Wealth Builders picks section, right? You get Wealth Builders picks as well as regular picks, right? This is all in addition to, by the way. You get Wealth Builders exclusive picks, you get Wealth Builders exclusive content, you get Wealth Builders exclusive educational course with over 500 videos on that course that were created by Coach Nick Money and myself. To top it off, you also gain access to Coach Nick Money and myself, exclusive access. You get a direct line to us, as a matter of fact. And to top it off, ladies and gentlemen, you also gain access to our behind-the-scenes content, scripts, etc. So, yeah, you get all that and more just by joining the Wealth Builders. So, yeah, be sure to check out the link in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. Be sure to check us out there. You can find us on our YouTube channel at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do lots of videos, stock reviews, stock analysis, shorts, and other content, as well as live streams. You can find us there. Again, at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. You can find us on X.com, aka Twitter, at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do lots of stock reviews and stock analysis there as well, and live streams. You can find us on Twitch at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do lots of live streaming there. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Coaching Money. At Coach Nick Money. And you can find us on TikTok, Tiki Taki, aka the Tac. You can find us there at DBL Nicks. At DBL NICKS, and the screen name is Coach Nick Money. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you later on today at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Power Plays, which is hosted by the legend himself, Coach Nick Money, as he navigates the stock market prior to Power Hour. Ladies and gentlemen, prior to Power Hour. And what does he do? He basically shows all the stocks and gives his honest analysis of each stock prior to power hour. That's the power portion of the show. Then he lets them stocks simmer on high heat while he basically goes and does the play portion of the show, plays some Fortnite, gets some dubs for the community, and then, basically goes back to the stonks. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Check out the 1:30 p.m. show, Eastern Standard Time. Power plays, ladies and gentlemen. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later.